Hello everyone, I have another video for you today. I have 2 more Reddit stories. I hope you enjoy. Here is the title of the first story. My mom's best friend ruined her life. The shocking truth behind the betrayal. I've been thinking a lot about whether I should share this, but after everything that's happened, I feel like I need to get it off my chest. I, 26F, grew up in a small town with my mom, Caroline, and my younger brother, Sam, 22M. Our family wasn't wealthy, but we got by, and my mom always made sure we had what we needed. She was a nurse and worked long hours, but she was also the kind of person who would drop everything to help someone in need. That's how she ended up spending most of her time with Tanya, her high school best friend. I've never liked Tanya. I'm not going to lie. I've always found her a little over the top. She's one of those people who expects the world to revolve around her, and it always seemed like my mom, for some reason, put Tanya on a pedestal. They were always together, holidays, weekends, you name it. I never questioned it as a kid because, well, she was my mom's friend. But as I got older, I started noticing the way Tanya would manipulate situations to her advantage, especially when it came to my mom. Tanya had a son, Leo, 24M, who was just as entitled as she was, and the two of them always acted like they were the center of the universe. Meanwhile, my mom would always make excuses for their behavior. That's just how Tanya is, sweetie. She's been through a lot, she'd say, but I knew better. I saw how Tanya would walk into our house and expect to be treated like royalty. And my mom? She'd roll out the red carpet for her every single time. At family dinners, Tanya would always make herself at home, pushing me aside to sit at the head of the table. My mom didn't bat an eye. She'd just say, "Tanya always sits there, honey. It's tradition." And I'd just swallow my frustration and let it go. After all, she was family, right? Now, the drama didn't really hit me until last summer when I came back to visit for a few weeks. I had moved away after college to a different city, but I decided to take a break from work and spend some time with my family. I had been feeling disconnected, especially since Sam was living at home and I hadn't seen him much lately. I thought it would be nice to come back, catch up, and maybe talk things through with my mom. One evening, we planned a big family dinner. My mom, being the amazing cook she is, had prepared a massive meal: lasagna, roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans, and homemade garlic bread. It smelled incredible, and I was looking forward to spending time together. But then Tanya and Leo showed up late, as usual, and everything started to go downhill. When they walked in, it was like a scene from a movie. Tanya, wearing this ridiculous amount of makeup and a fur coat, in the middle of summer mind you, walked straight to the table and without missing a beat, claimed the seat at the head of the table, the seat that I always sit in. My mom just smiled and nodded, like this was the most normal thing in the world. I was stunned. "Mom," I said, trying to stay calm. "Can I sit there?" "Oh, honey," she replied, as if she hadn't heard a word I said. "Tanya always sits there. It's just how it is." I could not believe it. I've sat at the head of the table for as long as I could remember, but now Tanya had taken over. My stomach was turning, but I didn't say anything more. I didn't want to cause a scene, especially in front of Leo and Tanya, who were already eyeing each other like they owned the place. As dinner went on, Tanya began talking about her plans to move into a new house. She went on and on about how luxurious it was, how it had a pool, a gym, and how she would have her own personal chef. Honestly, I didn't care about her house or her life, but my mom was hanging on every word. I could tell she was excited for Tanya, like this was some sort of achievement for their friendship. Then, Tanya casually dropped the bomb. "Oh, I'm so excited about this new place. But I'm gonna need some help. You know, I've been through a lot lately, and things are a little tight with Leo and I. Caroline, could you help me out with the rent for a couple of months? I've been struggling a bit, and honestly you owe me." I sat there stunned. I could feel my blood pressure rising. My mom had worked so hard for everything we had, and now Tanya was demanding my mom pay her rent. "What?" I asked, unable to keep my voice from rising. "Mom, are you seriously going to help her pay for this?" Before my mom could respond, Tanya said with all the entitlement in the world, "It's not a big deal. Caroline, you've always been there for me. I helped you get through your divorce. You owe me after all." I couldn't believe my ears. This woman had the audacity to claim that my mom owed her. That was a low blow. My mom had worked hard her whole life to support us, and now Tanya was using their friendship, if you can call it that, as leverage to get her way. And my mom just sat there, nodding along. Of course, Tanya. I can help you, my mom said with a smile, as if this was a normal request. I'll send you the details soon. I was livid. My mom didn't even hesitate. She was willing to give away money she didn't even have to someone who clearly didn't deserve it. But it didn't end there. Over the next few weeks, Tanya's housewarming expenses kept piling up. My mom sent Tanya thousands of dollars for things like moving costs, housewarming gifts, and miscellaneous expenses. She didn't ask any questions, didn't check where the money was actually going. She just handed it over, believing Tanya's manipulative words. The moment I realized just how far this had gone was when I got a call from my mom, and her voice sounded like she'd been crying. Sweetie, she said, I need to talk to you. Tanya's been asking for more money. And I've already sent her so much, but she's saying she needs more. I was beyond furious. Mom, you're being played. Tanya's using you. She's taking advantage of your kindness, and you're letting her do it. My mom, however, was in denial. She's my best friend, honey. I've helped her so much in the past, and she's going through a rough time now. She's not using me. I couldn't stand it anymore. I told her to stop helping Tanya, that she was getting herself into a dangerous pattern. But my mom wouldn't listen. The next thing I knew, Tanya was sending more invoices, things like gift costs and moving accessories, each more ridiculous than the last. And then came the bombshell. A month later, my mom called me in a panic, her voice shaking. Tanya's house, it's being foreclosed on. I don't understand what's happening. She hasn't paid anything, and now they're kicking her out. I couldn't believe it. Tanya had asked for thousands, and my mom had been blindly sending it, thinking she was helping her friend. And now, it turned out Tanya had never planned on paying anything back. She had used my mom's money for her own lifestyle, and when things didn't work out, she just let it all go, leaving my mom holding the bag. But that wasn't the worst part. Tanya didn't call to apologize or explain herself. She didn't even try to make things right. Instead, she blocked my mom's number. Completely ghosted her. My mom, after giving so much, was left with thousands of dollars in unpaid bills and absolutely no apology from Tanya. I don't think I've ever been this angry in my life. Watching my mom, who had worked so hard, get manipulated by someone she thought was her friend was devastating. Tanya was a master manipulator, and my mom had fallen for it, hook, line, and sinker. The worst part is that my mom still doesn't see it. She's heartbroken, and I'm honestly not sure how to help her through this. But here's the twist I didn't see coming. After everything Tanya had done, after all the money she took and the lies she told, she never reached out to my mom. She just disappeared. And now, my mom is left cleaning up the mess. I don't know if my mom will ever fully recover from this. The pain of realizing your best friend betrayed you in the worst way possible is hard to come to terms with. But I do know this: Tanya will always be the most entitled, manipulative person I've ever met. And the worst part is, my mom let her get away with it. That is the end of the first story. What a terrible person. How can the mom call Tanya her best friend? To be fair, at some point, I think you can't blame someone like that anymore, and you should start looking at the person that is enabling them. I think the thing that makes people like that is they get whatever they want and nobody stops them. Let's get to the next story. Here is the title: The Ultimate Petty Revenge That Left My Neighbor Speechless. It all began about a year ago when I moved into a new apartment building. It wasn't the fanciest building in the city, but it had a certain charm, and the price was right. I was on the second floor, and across the hall from me was Tom. Tom was your classic "I know everything about everything" kind of guy. I had only been living there for a few weeks when I first met him. He knocked on my door, introduced himself, and immediately started talking about how quiet the building was, how great the neighbors were, and how everyone just minds their business here. Naturally, I thought, okay, cool, normal neighbor. But oh, how wrong I was. Within days of meeting Tom, I discovered that he had an uncanny ability to insert himself into anyone's life. I'd be casually walking to my car, and suddenly Tom would appear out of nowhere, giving me unsolicited advice on everything from the best grocery stores to how I should be organizing my life. I already had everything handled, I was doing fine. But my favorite part was how he'd always say, "If you ever need anything, I'm right here. Just knock on my door. I'm here to help." I'm not gonna lie. At first I thought, hey, he's just trying to be friendly. But very quickly, I realized that Tom's friendliness came with a huge side of entitlement. The first big incident happened when I was going through a rough patch at work. I was stressed out, barely getting any sleep, and one night, I decided to have a nice, relaxing evening with a glass of wine and some takeout. I turned on some music to unwind, and was just starting to relax when I heard a loud knock at my door. I opened it, half expecting it to be a delivery or a neighbor, but no. It was Tom, wearing his signature smug grin. "Hey, I noticed you've got your music going," he said. "It's a bit loud, don't you think?" I stood there, shocked for a moment, and then I realized, no way. This guy, who was constantly playing music too loud, was now knocking on my door to tell me that I was being too loud. I was not having it. "Oh, sorry, Tom. I didn't realize you were the music police around here," I said, trying to keep it light, but instead of backing off, he just kept going. "Well, I mean, it's not a big deal, but I just thought you should know." He looked at me like he was doing me a favor. I smiled, but inside, I was fuming. I nodded and assured him that I would keep it down. But in my head, I was already brainstorming how I was going to get back at him. I'm not usually the type to hold grudges. Life's too short for that. But I was pissed. I decided right then and there that I was going to show Tom that he couldn't just walk around telling people how to live their lives. The universe had given me the perfect opportunity for some good old-fashioned petty revenge. And trust me, I worked on this plan for weeks. First, I needed to understand Tom's habits. I started paying attention to his comings and goings. He was a creature of habit, and I quickly learned that he always went out for a run every Sunday morning, at exactly 8 a.m. sharp. Tom, of course, was always talking about how important it was to live a healthy lifestyle, and how he only ate organic food and never touched fast food. In fact, he liked to brag about how he would run circles around the average person on his weekend jogs. Perfect, I thought. I had the perfect idea. One Saturday, I went to the local store and bought a bag of mildly spicy chili powder and a bottle of organic hot sauce. Not enough to make anyone sick, but enough to make someone uncomfortable. I waited until Sunday morning when I knew Tom would be out for his run. Then, I did the unthinkable. I took his shoes from outside his apartment and sprinkled the chili powder and hot sauce all over them. It was the perfect setup. Tom was going to be sweating it out on his run, and I knew that the hot sauce would get absorbed into the shoes, creating a nice burning sensation in his feet. I was giddy just thinking about it. I couldn't wait to see his reaction when he returned. The next morning, Tom was out for his run like clockwork. I was waiting by my window, watching him jog down the street. I could barely contain my excitement as I saw him go by. Once he was out of sight, I rushed over to his doorstep, grabbed his shoes, and went to work. I was like a ninja, quiet, efficient, and dare I say, pretty proud of my petty genius. I made sure to get every part of the shoe, inside and out. I even rubbed some of the hot sauce into the soles for an extra kick. Then I carefully placed the shoes back exactly where I found them. I was in and out of there in 5 minutes. I couldn't wait to see the results. By the time Tom came back from his run, I had already forgotten about the whole thing. After all, it was just a little harmless fun, right? I had other things to do. But then, around noon, I heard it. A knock on my door. I opened it to find Tom standing there, looking completely defeated. His face was flushed, his eyes were watering, and he had this look of absolute panic on his face. "Hey, I need to talk to you," he said, and I immediately knew something was wrong. Did you mess with my shoes?" I was taken aback. "What? No. Why would I mess with your shoes?" "Well," he said, clearly uncomfortable. "I went on my run, and after about 20 minutes, my feet started burning like crazy. I thought it was just the weather, but when I got home, I realized that my shoes were soaked in something. It was like hot sauce or something. And now my feet are so irritated, I can't even stand." "What the hell happened?" I played it cool, acting all innocent. "Wow, that's terrible, Tom. Maybe you should see a doctor or something," Tom continued to ramble. "I've never been so embarrassed in my life. I thought I was going crazy out there. It was like my feet were on fire. People were looking at me like I had 2 noses. What kind of a person would do this to me?" I couldn't help myself anymore. I burst out laughing. Wow, man, that sounds pretty intense. But honestly, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe next time, don't go knocking on my door about noise complaints when you're the one blasting your music at 2 a.m. Tom froze. He stared at me for a long moment, clearly realizing what had happened. His face went from red to pale as it dawned on him that I had orchestrated the whole thing. He didn't even know how to react. Are you serious? He said, his voice almost shaking. Oh, I'm serious, Tom. You mess with my garden, you mess with my life, and now you've crossed the line. Enjoy the burn, buddy. After that incident, Tom stopped trying to give me unsolicited advice. He didn't come over uninvited, didn't knock on my door, and definitely didn't complain about noise ever again. Every time I saw him, he would just give me this awkward smile and scurry away. I had finally won the battle, and it was glorious. But here's the weird part. A few weeks later, Tom sent me an unexpected text. He wrote, "Hey, I'm sorry for being such a pain. I've been going through some stuff, and I've realized I shouldn't have been acting like an idiot. Can we start over?" I thought about it for a second. And then I realized something. Maybe all this petty revenge had gone on long enough. Maybe I should actually be the bigger person. So I replied, "Sure, Tom. But next time, stay out of my garden." And that, my friends, is how I executed the petty revenge of a lifetime, and how, in the end, even I could recognize when it was time to let go. But just in case Tom ever crosses me again, let's just say I have a very special backup plan. So yeah, that's my story. Sometimes, the petty revenge is sweet, and other times, it's just a little too spicy. That is the end of the story. Putting hot sauce into someone's shoes right before they go on their jog is diabolical. I didn't know hot sauce would have an effect like that on their feet, but that is awesome. Tom might not have totally deserved that, but he won't be doing anything like that again. I hope you enjoyed the stories. There is a link in the description for my Reddit Stories playlist. Go watch them if you like. Have a great day.